In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about safety in a welding shop. Now, why do we talk about welding as a part of piping and piping design and air conditioning and refrigeration? It's because in larger installations, in larger equipment, the pipes may not be threaded, they may not be soldered, they may not be brazed, they may be actually be welded. It's all again dependent on the size of the equipment you're working with and what the outcome's going to be. So let's dig into a little bit more on safety and specifically having to do with welding. Okay, welding can have a wide range of safety and health risks. Welding health hazards can include exposure to toxic fumes and ultraviolet rays. Potential safety hazards can include burns, eye damage, electrical shock, crushed fingers and toes. Careful training in the proper work practices and the use of quality personal protective equipment can help reduce these injuries and dangers. The American Heritage Dictionary defines an accident as an unexpected, undesirable event. Many experts who've studied accidents and encourage safe practices believe there's some personal or physical factor responsible for every accident that occurs. Some of the personal factors can be stress. People who are under stress may be distracted from their work by thoughts of worry, anger, sorrow, love, or hate. Illness. When people are ill, they may not be able to give all their attention necessary to a task. Fatigue. If a person does not get enough sleep, for whatever reason it may be, they may be less alert to the requirements of the job. Lack of job knowledge. When someone's not sufficiently trained for the job or task, the accidents are more likely to occur. Age. There's more accidental deaths at age 18 than any other age. Lack of wisdom may fall into that age category as well. The lack of intelligence and experience to know when an action may cause an accident. For example, like horseplay and practical joking in a shop environment. Poor attitude. How you feel about yourself in the job has much to do with good attitude towards safety rules, housekeeping, and wearing proper PPE. That's personal protective equipment. Drugs. The use of alcohol, narcotics, and some prescription drugs will affect reflexes, perception, coordination, and judgment. Some of the physical factors responsible for an accident can include equipment failure. Poorly maintained equipment is an accident waiting to happen. Time of day. Starting and quitting times may be the most congested and dangerous times. After lunch, some become less attentive to the job. Housekeeping. Metal pieces, hoses, cables, dirt, and oil on the floor can all contribute to accidents. Most of these conditioners are in control of the worker. Even if you can't control them, you need to be aware of them. Every professional welder, or basically anyone around welding, should be familiar with the latest safety and health information. The most complete and influential safety document is the Safety in Welding and Cutting and Allied Processes. This is ANSI Z 49.1. The American Welding Society publishes this document. It outlines procedures and practices that will keep you and others safe from many potential dangers of welding, cutting, and related processes. Working or moving around a welding shop or an environment that has welding going on in it presents many different dangers, including heat, sparks, arc rays, fumes, radiation, high voltage, hot metal, gas cylinders, moving vehicle, and hazardous machinery and overhead cranes. Okay, this is a welding safety checklist. Basically, you have a lot of hazards here, and it all talks about it. Okay, electrical shock is a number one hazard. Okay, wetness, a welder in or on a workspace, confined space, electrode holder and cable insulation might go bad. Fumes is another one. Confined areas, positioning of a welder's head, lack of general ventilation. And it all comes down to the base metal coatings and galvanization and paint. Welding sparks can cause fire explosions. Arc rays can burn eyes and skin. Confined spaces. And then you have general work areas such as issues, just as cluttered areas, indirect work, okay, like welding ground connections, electrical equipment, engine-driven equipment, and gas cylinders. All of these prevent safety hazards, and you have to be aware what to do with them. This chart's sort of important. Workers in shops should wear clothing appropriate to the job. Everyone, including office workers and visitors, should wear goggles or proper safety glasses while in the shop. Hard hats may be necessary if overhead hazards exist. Welders should wear work clothes or coveralls. The shirt or coverall should have covered pockets and have buttons at the neck. Trousers or coveralls should not have cuffs that can catch hot metal. All outer clothing worn by anyone working with welding should be made from flame retardant material. Okay, again, proper dress is very important. It's personal protective equipment. Anyone performing arc welding should wear an arc welding helmet with a lens of the correct shade for the process and amperages being used. There's a lens shade selector chart that has been published that makes this easy. There are fire hazards all around. Paints, oils, cleaning chemicals, and other combustibles must be kept in steel cabinets designed for such storage. This is in accordance with local fire codes. Fire exits, blankets, and extinguishers must be clearly marked. All electrical devices are hazardous, but some use extremely high and dangerous voltages. All areas where 220 volts or more are used must be well marked. As example, a sign stating danger high voltage will be put up and visible. Machinery should be operated only after thorough training on how the machine operates, its safety issues, safety features, correct placement of hands and feet, and proper sequence of operation. The pedestal grinder, even though it's a simple piece of equipment, can be one of the most dangerous pieces of equipment in the shop. For example, failing to adjust the rest to its closest safe position and securing it properly can result in an accident. So can pushing hard on the work and attempting to grind it downward in a downward direction on the wheel. It can fly up out of the wheel and get you. Doing something like that on a grinding wheel can cause the work piece to flip up and be pulled to between the tool rest and the grinding wheel. It can result in a thumb that is on the ground on the wheel. A very painful injury. Okay, this is an example of a grinding wheel. And again, you don't want to angle the metal down. Okay, it can actually flip up and get you. Dust, fumes, and metal particles can be health hazards. Shops should normally have high ceilings for greater air volume and well-designed ventilation systems to provide adequate volumes of air in accordance with OSHA requirements. According to OSHA, local exhaust ventilation should consist of freely movable hoods intended to be placed by the welder or burner as close as practical to the work. The system should be of sufficient capacity and so arranged as to remove fumes and smoke at the source and keep the concentration of them in the breathing zone within safe limits. Other things you need to consider when you're working in any shop. When lifting, always keep your back straight and lift with your legs. Don't overdo it. Many companies require workers to wear a back brace or lifting belt. Safety hazards should be well marked. Signs, fences, or barriers shall be erected while temporary hazards are present so that the workers are fully aware of them. Permanent hazards are normally painted with wide yellow and black stripes to create high visibility. All power tools should be inspected before use. Power cords should be checked for cuts and frayed insulation or exposed to wires. As we learn more about welding, it's important to be familiar with and be able to recognize conditions that can be hazardous to your health. The oxy-fuel flame is generally safe, but carbon monoxide can build up to dangerous levels in a purely ventilated space. Use of carbon dioxide as an arc welding shielding gas can create a problem because the CO2 breaks down in the welding arc and forms carbon monoxide. Coating on metal can be hazardous because they may give off hazardous fumes when the metal is heated. Lead paint, for example, when burned can cause acute lead poisoning. Cadmium plating, which is frequently used on small parts, can create cadmium oxide fumes. Even at low level, can produce chronic health conditions. At higher levels, the fumes can cause lung and liver damage. Gas and tungsten arc welding of aluminum can produce ozone. Ozone gas is toxic and can cause severe lung damage. It is irritating and causes coughing. It's important that welding areas be well ventilated. Ionizing radiation increases the possibility of eye cataracts. Even a small amount of ultraviolet radiation can generate ionization and accelerate cataracts. Ultraviolet rays are harmful to welders' vision. Safety goggles with appropriate filter lenses will provide protection. So all of these are safety things to keep in mind anytime you're around a welding area, but a lot of them apply to all shops. Safety glasses are important. Even on the job, safety glasses are important when you get into the field. Okay, long pants, work boots, they're expected material to wear.